Hello Internet, my name is Rick, and today I'm going to show you an example of my Starcraft 2 videos. In this video I'm going to talk briefly about my experience with Starcraft, and I'm going to show you a match between 2 versus an elite and very hard AI. I asked the good people of Reddit if they'd be curious to see some of my videos of my journey through the ladder, and they said yes. So in the meantime, here's an example of what my videos are going to be like. On this side you have a very hard and an elite AI, and on this side you have 2 human players. The AIs aren't really programmed to coordinate their attacks, or at least not on the easier levels, but this particular time they did. In a way, the human players weren't really ready for the AIs in this scenario, but in another more important way, they totally were. So let's see how this battle plays out. I've been playing Starcraft ever since the original Starcraft came out, even before Brood War, and I was able to play multiplayer a little bit, and I was terrible at it back then. When Wings of Liberty came out, I used to play with my gold-ranked friends, and on a good day I could beat them sometimes, and we did all sorts of competitive matches. We would do 1 versus 1, 2v2, 3v3, 4v4. I remember the 4 versus 4 were always the wildest and craziest matches, but often the most well-balanced as well. The next 2 expansions of StarCraft came out, and the people I play with now mostly like to play versus the computer. So lately I've been thinking about getting back into competitive StarCraft, because I find myself kind of missing it a little bit. I used to have so much fun with it. At the start of this match, I was having a bad day. I had just played 2 games before this, and I thought I was not playing my best. So in this match I was really going to focus on just getting some units out and getting some upgrades. Here's what I can tell you about this guy. He's very good. He did all the heavy lifting. I was privileged to be able to play with this guy. He did a really good job. Here I've skipped ahead to the 2-minute mark, because it's not like anything really happened during that period anyways. The human players have both expanded once, and they have already outspent the computer players on economy, which I find very telling. Here I've skipped to the almost 5-minute mark in the first real fight of any kind. The human players, the Protoss player has some basic infrastructure set up, and the Zerg player has some Zerglings, which is good. As is pretty typical, the computer players cranked out way more army than the human player. And this is almost funny, despite the fact that they can see them, the human players don't really notice the AI quite right away, or even react to it. Those Zerglings are attacking rocks. Oh wait, that's a bad idea. And then they run up this ramp almost as if to say, hey, help me, Protoss player, do something. eventually they do. So here's kind of a funny moment. The Protoss AI is feeling a little squirrely, decides to run out and check and see if it should move out yet, and it runs into a few Zerglings, and a few more, and it's like, nope, nope, run back, run away, too much, Zerglings alone would clean us up, run away. Here we have the exact moment the AI decides to move out and kick the human's ass. And it's interesting because I have no idea why it's choosing this particular moment, but you can just tell. The tanks sieged up on this high ground and then immediately unsiege again because they're going to move out. At this exact moment, it kind of looks like the two sides have somewhat even forces, but it's not just looks like. If you go to the active forces tab, you can see that they do have almost the same. The human player has almost the same amount of command points worth of stuff as the AI does at this exact moment. And so this is kind of a neat part. I like watching them move out. So here we have the moments that led up to that giant fight. Now what's happening here is the Zerglings didn't want to fight these guys all by themselves. They wanted to gather their forces together. The Protoss forces didn't want to fight these guys all by themselves. So they're kind of trying to group together here. And I would say it works. I mean, despite the fact that both sides are basically destroyed, the strategy seems pretty sound to me. And here's how it plays out. Again. Now at this point it looks really bad for the human players, except that they're spending their resources and building units, and the other guy's reinforcements are on the far side of the world. And the humans have some defenses. You guys managed to successfully push back the AI's attack. What do you do next? Oh, go kill some more. I think the Zerg was gathering his troops to go attack somewhere, and that's when this whole thing started. after the AIs clean up the attack from the humans, the Zerg player sends another wave of forces across the map to slow down and try to stop the AI. That takes us to the 14 minutes and 30-second mark of the game, which is an interesting time because there is no attacking going on. The computer attacked once and did no real damage. The humans attacked once and set back the AIs a little bit, but they've basically rebounded since then and set up more outposts for more mining. So at this point, if the humans sat back and did nothing, the AIs could still win. Meanwhile, the humans are sort of gathering their forces and building a few units and kind of getting their stuff together. I'm just going to follow the AI Protoss player around here. Setting up another expansion, going off to protect one of their expansions. These are the last peaceful moments of the game. After this, the fighting breaks out and it just doesn't stop until the game is over, which I quite like. Here we are at the 15-minute and 30-second mark almost, and the human players have pretty much decided they're going to come in here and end this basically. And yeah, this screen here tells you a lot, and so does this one. This kind of tells you how expensive the armies are. And, oh, holy cow, that is one expensive Zerg army. I also really like this spending tab. This tells you a great deal about what the various players have been doing throughout the entire game. It doesn't tell you what their current army is made of, but it tells you how much they've spent on army total. And so, this Zerg player has spent a lot on economy and has by far the most expensive army on the board. That was a tremendously successful attack. The humans really mowed through a lot of the AI troops, but the AI has sort of got its act together and done terrible, terrible damage to the Zerg forces. So what's going to happen now? Can the human players handle that? the answer is kind of. But a strategic retreat at this point seems like a good idea. Oh wait, here's some more Zerg forces. And this is the moment the tide kind of turned. Just as the Protoss player is trying to regroup his units together, the Zerg player is sending his units across the map to make sure that all that ground they gained isn't immediately lost. And it works. And now, without even communicating with each other, the human players decide to go and do this. So now the Zerg player has pretty successfully destroyed the AI's base over here, and it has also lured the Terran AI over this direction, which brings us to the following exchange, which is probably not the most efficient in the history of StarCraft, but it's still fun to watch. So I quite like some of these moments. And so do the Star Wars vehicles. That was some pretty expensive trades on both sides, but I think the AI lost a lot more than the humans in that one. At the exact moment, the Protoss was busy vaporizing most of the human AI's forces. This was going on. The Zerg were taking apart the Protoss army. And that takes us to the final moments of the game. The final attacks of the final armies. Is that crazy or what? Isn't this a nice moment? I really like this. This looks like a cinematic from the game or something. This is so cool. Look at that. That is just neat. Pew! If you enjoyed this StarCraft content, please like, comment, or subscribe. Thanks for watching.